This video isn't to help Christians win terrible debates. This is to help Christians and non-believers understand that their knowledge of the Bible is lacking. It should be obvious that as Christians, we should have a good understanding of the Bible. I'll try to keep this brief. No one wants to sit through a 30-minute video. I may release other videos in the future with further explanations or different topics altogether because of this video being so short. In this video, I'll address the idea that seems to be very prevalent for some reason, that the earth was created in 6 days. The fact that this has been the topic of debate highlights the level of ignorance in society. As the Bible starts at the beginning, so shall we. Now, I read from the New King James Version. You can follow in whatever translation you'd like. The first sentence in the Bible states, "In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth." Period. In English, that means you should pause. So, let's do that and reflect. Whether he did or not isn't the point. The point is comprehension. God created the heavens and the earth. In this one sentence, when we study the word heavens, or heaven in some translations, it is clear from ancient texts, Greek, Hebrew, that it's not heaven like where God lives, where the angels dwell, but it's speaking of everything surrounding the earth, what we consider the atmosphere, and then space beyond that. In ancient texts, the word heavens in this verse is the same word used in Genesis 1:26, the word air in that scripture says the birds of the air. So even though it's two different words in English being used, the birds of the air, the heavens, it's the same exact word in the ancient texts. So that's how we know it's not heaven that's being created right now. It's only the earth. Anyone stating differently is in error. They don't know what they're talking about. The second and third sentence in the Bible, "The earth was without form and void, and darkness was on the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God was hovering over the face of the waters." Well, that's the end of that verse. Let's again stop and reflect. And apparently this is where it all goes wrong for thousands, if not millions of Christians. 3 sentences into the Bible, they completely lose it. Okay? Now the word deep here, just for your reference, is also the same word used in Genesis 8:2. It describes a source of water that's locked beneath the ocean, or what we would consider the oceans. Hold your questions about that. Let's just focus on comprehension right now. Apparently that's very hard for some people. The Spirit of God was hovering over the face of the waters. This is paramount. We as readers, we have to slow down. The faster you read, the less you comprehend. It's clear fact, science. So by the end of Genesis 1:2, we see that the earth has already been formed. It says the earth was without form and void. And while it may be in a primitive state, without form and void and darkness, it exists. And there is water. So the Spirit of God was hovering over the face of the waters. Now, from observations of science, we know if there's water, that means the Earth's gravitational field has stabilized at this point, and that the atmosphere is in place. Now, 2 more important things we must take away from this verse. Since the earth has already been formed, and up until now, during these 3 sentences, there's been no reference of time. We have no idea how long it took. or if time was even being considered before that. Arguably, if you look at other scriptures, it hasn't been. Time as we know it, our physical day and night, our physical thoughts of what time is, it hasn't occurred yet. And I'll show that in just a moment. In addition, the infamous 6 days it supposedly took God to create the earth hasn't happened yet. There's been no reference of day 1, day 2, any days, but the earth has already been formed and there's already water there. And just to make sure there's no room for doubt, let's continue. Let's read the next 2 verses, Genesis 1:3 and 1:4. Then God said, "Let there be light." And there was light. And God saw the light, that it was good. And God divided the light from the darkness. God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. So the evening and the morning were the first day. So clearly we see here that God didn't create earth on the first day or the second day, which hasn't even been mentioned yet. The only thing God did on the first day, according to the scriptures, is that he said, "Let there be light." So he created light, or just stated it, and it was there, it was done. However, there's no really reference to how it happened. And then he divided the light from the darkness. That's the only thing that happened on that first day. And we're not even considering the other 5 days because they haven't happened yet. Now, everything stated in this video is just comprehension. I haven't added anything. I haven't speculated or considered information that wasn't given in the scripture. I think people just read over everything really fast. Oh, I mean, this is just repetitive. This isn't important. Let's get to something else. It's like, hey, slow down. Thank you all so much for listening. So that's the end of the video. I hope it helps some people out. Truth be told, I hope that you already knew that. But apparently from what I read on YouTube and what I hear on YouTube, it's not the case. There are great preachers out there. But not all preachers are the same. There's a spectrum. There's some that are very gifted. There are some that aren't so gifted. And there's people that, make mistakes. We're human. It's okay to be in error, to make mistakes. There's also pastors that are out there to make a quick buck. They're out there to, get money. So they're at times they may be very negligent of Scripture, and that's something that we definitely need to watch out for. And it highlights the fact that we as Christians need to read the Bible for ourselves. We need to physically look at our Bibles and surround yourself with people who are knowledgeable. Ideas like this 6-day theory, if you will. It's a terrible word for it, but I guess that's the best. These things have been passed around for decades. One person hears it and they spread it to the next person or teach their children. I mean, this needs to stop. And the only way it can stop is with you. You need to be that start of a change where we look at the Bible, where we read it ourselves and we say, hey, this doesn't make sense. Don't be afraid of these, authority figures. Oh, he's a pastor, you can't be wrong. There's no way he could be wrong. You need to ask those questions. Maybe you misunderstood what they were trying to say. That's also, possible. But if you don't ask those questions, when things don't make sense, then you're just stuck spreading around the same falsehoods in years and years, and then we end up at this sad state we're at now. So I hope this can change a couple of those things in the future, and then if I see something else that's is consistently misrepresented on social media or something like that, then I'll post another video. But thank you guys, and you enjoy your day.